There is a novel series that I have been obsessing over for like the past few months, and I have to talk about it. Now, this is not just a novel series. I first got into it through an anime, and then it was a manga, and then I read the light novel series just because I couldn't get enough. I had to know the next things in the story, and it was so amazing. And the story I'm talking about is The Apothecary Diaries. Now, my name is Michelle, and welcome to my channel where I am a writer and I discuss writing stuff, and that I also discussed stories and books that I am absolutely in love with. Now, this series is amazing. Honestly, every media that I have watched it, read it with, it is a fantastic. The plot is great, the characters are impeccable, and the love story is my all-time favorite. It is a slow burn romance, and it is a slow burn romance done right. You have to do a slow burn romance done right, or it's just hell for everyone. I also appreciate this story because it teaches me how to be a better writer when I read it, because I honestly believe, even if I'm like a fantasy writer, any writing media can help me progress in my writing experience. I don't think you'll realize how big this series is. There are 11 light novels in English, while there's 15 in Japanese. And there's only, like in the manga, it only covers 4 of the books. And the manga is pretty long so far. And then the TV show only covers 2 books. And so this series is long, but I think it's worth it because they're light novels. They're 200 to 300 pages, which if you're a fantasy writer or reader or what have you, that's nothing. Like Brandon Sanderson has much bigger books. Now let's get into the basic plot. The series takes place in ancient China, and it's not really called China, I think it's called Ka. And it is in the perspective of Maomao, an apothecary that lives in the red light district. And if you don't know what the red light district is, that's where people go and have some fun if they have the money. I hope you understand. One day, Maomao is collecting herbs when she gets kidnapped, and she is sold into the rear palace where all of the emperor's concubines reside. And there she meets multiple characters that I love with all my heart, and her love interest, who is my favorite character out of all the characters, but that's neither here nor there. The story follows Maomao solving mysteries and going on little adventures that really immerse you into the story and setting. Like, dang, you can really see the world that's around her, and you can feel how it affects her in any shape or form, and it's beautiful to see. I love seeing Maomao find the solutions to different situations and even like figure things out when you didn't really think that they mattered in the moment that they were presented, but now like after you see all the steps it took to get there, you're like, your mind is blown. It's really cool. It's slow paced, but everything that's stated and done is worth watching because it just adds so much to every character and setting and plot. It's so well done, and it's just a fantastic show. I can't get over it. Like, it's so good. It's a mystery while also being a slice of life, while also being a historical fiction, while also being a slow burn romance, and I love it. I love it when writers can put so many different tropes into one story and make it work coherently. I mean, like, it's even a serious setting / book, but there's enough humor in every story beat that it doesn't make you feel like it's too much. Like, it's also a bit of a comedy, which I personally love. I don't like watching anything that I can't laugh at something. I just can't do that. My anxiety is just like, this is too much. But every arc feels important, even like with the smallest things. Like, everything feels important when you see it, just because the author has proved to the audience that everything that is stated and seen is important, which I think is very impressive for a writer, because when you're writing, they say don't write anything that will not be brought up later, that is not important, that it doesn't have anything to do with the plot or characters. Everything has to have meaning, and I feel like this author does really well at that. Even if it's just adding to the setting, adding to the characters, adding to the plot, it adds something, and it can actually, like, it's so cool what this author does is there will be a detail that she includes in a random little tidbit, and you barely miss it. You're just like, okay, this happened, whatever. A few chapters later, or even I've had it where it was a few books later, it becomes important, even if it's in a small, important way, and I love it. She brings things back, she foreshadows like crazy, and I'm just gonna put the author's name up here because I actually don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't want to butcher it for all of you guys. What I also like about this is that it's a historical fiction, and like it's fictitious, so the author doesn't have to be 100% accurate with everything. Because like, so there's one thing that the main character is obsessed with poisons. It's her passion. And one thing about it, as I didn't even realize this until I was like Googling stuff, because when I get into a story, I get into it. And I was just Googling the like just random facts and everything. And one of them is not every poison or things that have like even science in the story is 100% accurate. Like she makes it up. She has even, I think, made up some plants and what have you, but it's done so well, you don't even think that they would be made up because the world believes that this is a problem and you see it being a problem, so you don't really even bat an eye. And I mean, like she changed the Imperial China to, it's called like Ka, or something like that. I think it's Ka. And then there's like a country outside of this country that is called something completely different, but they mix different cultures into this one country because then they can just have fun with it. Like it's like it's a European country, but it has like Asian-esque, like from other Asian countries, like implements into it. It's pretty cool. I actually thoroughly enjoy that she makes things up, but she does it so well it's believable, which I think that's the best part about being an author. If you're able to successfully do it where no one bats an eye until someone's like, wait a minute, and you actually think about it. And I once was talking to someone saying that like, I really hope that people don't nitpick every single thing about my book, like I'm not perfect. And then they were saying like, but isn't that like the greatest compliment, that they liked your work so much that they want to look into every detail and figure it out? And I'm just like, actually, yeah. And I honestly see us being like, hey, not all these poisons are real and all of this is real. I think that's like a tap off to like the author, because it's like, good job. You made people love it so much we had to do research. But I also think it helps the author immensely because she's like popping out 200 to 300 pages, and I think she does it pretty frequently, like publishes the books, and she's grinding on this series, and I love it. I'm 100% respectful of that, and I just think it probably helps her in the long run if she just makes things up. Now let's go on to the characters. Every character is very well developed and feels authentic. I would say that even the secondary characters, I feel like even if they're not all the way three-dimensional, they are pretty close to it. I feel like they're an actual character with an actual personality, even if they don't really matter in that moment. As I said, sometimes they have those little details and the author brings it back later, which I can't help but respect. I don't really feel like anyone is out of character when they speak. However, there's this one scene with Jinshi that I don't think he's in character whatsoever. It's in book 4. It's the most controversial scene in the whole series. Makes me ask why the author did that, but we just move on and we take a deep breath and be like, it's okay. It'll be okay. But if you really want to know what that scene is, you can Google it, or you can go read the series yourself and then ignore it like the rest of us, because it's not good and I don't like it. Out of all the characters, let's start with Maomao, our girl, our main girl, the best girl. Maomao is a very well-developed character that feels real and true. She is highly intelligent, which I feel like is sometimes kind of hard to come by in media. And when I say like hard to come by in media, I'm mainly meaning anime media, because I feel like they make too many airhead main characters that are female, and I'm getting over it, okay? because most women aren't like that. The one thing about Maomao is that she has the trope of being emotionally stunted, but it is done so well that I can't even blame the author for doing it. We watch her and her backstory and just how she acts, and I feel like she just has emotionally detached herself from things, which makes me be even more sympathetic towards her, because she has seen terrible things in her life. She has experienced bad things. She grew up poor in poor area, so she's just seen bad things in her life, and so she is detached. But you can also see that she's highly caring. She wants to help people when they're sick. She wants to cure people when they have an illness or they have a poison. She wants to help people, and I think that's how she shows her caring about others around her, and she cares about people's lives. She cares about her family, her father, and people just around her, and I love watching it. And then she has this love for poisons, as I was saying earlier, and it's really fun to watch it because that's when you really see her face light up and she comes to life in this series. She's always kind of a sassy person and kind of sneaky, and she has her own little fun with a lot of things, but I feel like you really see her character shine when she is obsessing over poisons and medicines and just the medical field in general. With poisons, she has this hyperfixation on them, and she has been experimenting on herself with poisons since she was young, which is not good, but at the same time, her father was also an apothecary, so she would have been fine, I think. Anyway, I just love watching her have these silly moments where she lets her composure, because she's always pretty composed, and she's pretty, I wouldn't say exactly serious, but she has a serious face on herself a lot of the time. Even when she's joking around, she might have a smug look, but it's not really, I don't know, like, how do you explain it? Like, super emotive. I feel like I always know her motives and goals, and I can see them clearly. And even when I do have a bit of like a haze of like, I don't know what she's really after here, I can definitely see, like, knowing her character, know what could have intrigued her about something, because she does like solving mysteries a lot. What I also like about this series is that they slowly reveal her backstory. Like, they don't even fully reveal it until book 2 or like the end of season 1, but I also love that they show foreshadowing here and there throughout it. And even like when I've done rewatches and rereads, I still am like shocked at some things I just did not notice about the foreshadowing. Now, this character, Jinshi, is my favorite character to watch. He is so funny, and he does so many things that is just so intriguing, while he also is a very smart man, but he's not at the same time. He has this interesting character where you slowly at first don't think he's very capable, but as you go on, you're like, dang, this guy has a lot of secrets up his sleeves, and it's really fun to watch. And one thing about his character that is like the biggest thing is that he's a very, very beautiful man. Like, some people mistake him for a woman at first, and then they're like, oh, he's just a beautiful man. And he makes everyone swoon, men and women, and who could blame him? He is attractive. And the thing that I like about his character is he sees that he has faults and doesn't have a lot of strengths with some things, and so he uses actually his own appearances as an advantage against people, because, you know, pretty people have pretty privilege. And so it's so fascinating, because to me, I'm like, that shows that he's a smart character, and he's so complicated, and I love how complicated he is with different, and at first you just think he's this bumbling, funny guy, and then as you get to know him, he's pretty serious with certain things. I love that about him, because characters are meant to be complicated because they're human. Humans have contradictions to each other. Humans are complicated to each other. Oh, did you want to come up? Come up, though? You wanted to come up? Apparently my dog wanted to join the video. But yeah, that's what I love when people write a good character that's complicated, because honestly, humans are complicated. Then something else I like about him is that he really cares about the people around him. He's an honest worker, and he does try his best to fix things. And sometimes it's like he's killing himself with how hard he's working. And I really enjoy reading about it and watching it, because I feel like I read more about that part than I've watched it so far, but you can already see the details in the first season of the anime. He has this like pathetic, endearing side to him too, and he's just so complicated, and I just love watching his character. And his relationship with Maomao is probably one of the best relationships I've seen in media, with a slow burn done really right. And so let's get into the romance of the series, because that's probably my favorite part of the series. At first, Maomao doesn't really like Jinshi. She just sees him as trouble and kind of a headache, while Jinshi really likes Maomao because she's like the first person that doesn't swoon when he walks by because how beautiful he is, and isn't affected by his charms, and he's intrigued by it. And I know that's a common anime trope. I know that's a common trope, but I like it. They portray it well, and it's freaking cute, okay? I think it's cute. All of Jinshi's life, people have loved him because of his looks, and I'm guessing that would probably affect me, that if no one really cared about who I was, they just cared about what I looked like, that would be kind of hard. And then like if someone I found they don't really care what I look like, they even look at me in disgust, which he likes, which is why I say he's a masochist, and everyone in the fandom calls him that. I'm betting it'd be so intriguing and so different from what you're used to, and I honestly can't blame him for having that interest in her. And what I love most about the series is that they do not rush their relationship at all. Now, most people I talk to, they do not like slow burns. They actually despise them most of the time. But for me, I see it differently. Slow burns, if it's done right, can show a beautiful blossom from friendship into romance, and from like not liking each other that much to becoming friends into having a romance. And they just have so much history together. It's like, we might as well get married because we have just fallen in love with each other. And one of the things that you have to do to make sure that slow burn works is that they cannot be with each other all of the time. This is something that drives me crazy, which is very common in anime. It's like a will they, won't they slow burn romance, and it pisses me off because it's just like, just kiss already. Who cares? If you're with someone all the time and both of you are falling for each other and you like each other and you don't do anything about it, that makes me mad, because just kiss already. You're with each other 24/7. Well, Jinshi and Maomao are not. Sometimes they're not even in the same like area as each other, and that might be for like one book or two books. It might last a year. They visit each other, like they talk to each other still, but there's just not that much room to make romance at the moment because of things that aren't really coming into fruition, and I can appreciate that. I like that kind of slow burn because it makes me anticipate and wait, because I'm like, I know this is going to be a great payoff. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to love it. I'm going to squeal as I kick my feet when they finally kiss, when they finally are together. And that's what I love so much about their slow romance, is that it's done well. It doesn't make me feel like I am just waiting years and years for a kiss that should have happened in the first two books. No. Maomao is just a different kind of personality. She's emotionally stunted. She doesn't think about romance really at all, even though she's kind of surrounded by it. I think she's seen the worst about it. And like what I love about it more about Maomao is that the audience knows that she's falling in love, but she doesn't know that yet. And I think it's really fun to watch that kind of character. I think it's fun to watch her slowly be like, hey, I don't mind kissing him on the cheek. Hey, I don't mind like these certain things. And sometimes she might not like it, but that's because she's thinking, dang it, it's gonna just make my life bothersome. And that's really more in the first few books. But I just feel like in the anime and the novels and the manga, you see that she slowly comes to like him, first as a friend and then something more. And I really enjoy that. It's super intriguing and it's so fun to watch. And honestly, like as I watch it, I honestly think they are 100% made for each other. Their personalities match up so well that I can't even imagine Maomao or even Jinshi being with anyone else. Their lives have intertwined with each other in so many ways that I think if they don't get together, that would be heartbreaking because it's just like the person where you've had so many crossroads with them and you've become close to them. They've become one of your confidants that you just start to have this relationship with them that's a little bit more than just romance. And I think it's beautiful watching them. I love watching them slowly progress into a friendship, into a professional friendship, like all this stuff. It's really well done, and later in the books it just gets better and better, and I honestly think this romance is so well done and I love it. Their characters are 100% made for each other, and honestly, best couple out there. This is my final thoughts, and I have to be quick, sadly, because I have to go meet my friend for lunch, but this story is really the best story I've ever watched and read. Quite literally what happened is me and my husband watched the anime together, and then after that I was like, I have to have more. I went and read all the manga. I learned there was a light novel series and I was like, I have to have more, and I just kept reading until it was like, there's no more English translate, and I was so tempted to just go get the Japanese version and Google translate it, but the problem is that Maomao's name literally is Japanese for cat, and I don't want, not Japanese, I think it's Chinese or something. I don't want to pretty much, like, I looked at a page of it, it was like, cat said this, flower said this, like, it's too exact, and I'd rather just wait painfully for the next series. But honestly, best series I've ever read. I honestly am not really into historical fiction. I rarely ever read it or even watch it. If I'm watching anime, it's usually just a romance comedy, and then if I'm reading a book, it's always usually fantasy. I'm exploring different genres lately, but usually I never read anything like this. And I think it's now funny that my most favorite series of all time is a series that is about historical fiction. There's no magic in it, literally whatsoever. And I just think it's kind of fun that it's just so good that I think even people who don't usually like the trope, like the genre, would thoroughly enjoy it. And I honestly am in love with all the characters, the plot, the story. There's one book that I kind of had a bit of a problem with, but it didn't just take me out of the whole series in general. And honestly, I'm thinking of doing a book series, like, review on every one, where I might do some spoilers, and just let me know in the comments if you'd like that. Though I probably will do it anyway, because I want to read the series over and over again until I die. And that's saying a lot for me, actually, because I don't like rereading books, like, at all. It's not my cup of tea. If I reread a book, it has to be like years and years, like, into the future after I read it, like 5-10 years, because I'm like, I forgot how this happened, I want to reread it again. So I'm like, literally, I read it last month and now I want to read it even more. Now I'm going to get into the ratings of the story, the characters. I do a 9.9999 out of 10. And I say that because of the controversial scene where Jinshi was not in character, and I did not really enjoy that aspect. The story, 10 out of 10. It is very enjoyable to read. Slow burn romance, 100 out of 10. Any book with a good slow burn romance has a way to my heart, I'm gonna be honest. But overall, I would be like, it's a 10 out of 10, the whole series. I love it. It is probably the best series out there. I suggest all of you to go see either the anime or the manga or the books. All of them are great, and I thoroughly enjoy all of them. I'm probably gonna read even more manga as it comes out, because I just like enjoying all of it, and I wish they had more merch. The author of Apothecary Diaries, please make merch. Make more merch. I want it all. I will get the figurines and I'll put them all over my bookcase like I usually do. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below any stories you want me to read or watch. I think I'm going to be pretty much turning my book series of reviews into stories, because I don't really, like, I love every genre of storytelling. I like comedy. I like going and watching comedians. I like watching TV shows, anime, manga, books, web comics. I love them all. So I think I'm just gonna make this like my series reviews rather than just only book reviews, because I love stories too much and I obsessed over them way too much. Now, I hope you guys have a great week, a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!